everybody. It's Monday. It's about, well, it's the afternoon. I don't have much longer to work. And I'm knackered. So tired. It's Monday and I'm already tired because the weather has got a bit stuffy. The summers here are very hot and very humid, and it gets to this time, the end of May, and I start to feel like I can't breathe because there's not enough oxygen in the air. So lots of yoga and breathing exercises going on to try and not feel, oh. Anyway, I spent the morning putting together new freebie envelopes, and I wanted to do some sort of more handmade elements this time. So I actually put in a few hand-stamped papers, just little stamps that I carved myself. They're not particularly Japanesey, but I did them, and I thought I would use them for something. So you get a couple of those in with the freebie envelopes, and just a few bits and bobs like usual. That's what I did this morning, and then this afternoon I've been putting together some new sort of Lucky Dip packs of paper, which are just sitting on the floor over my shoulder. There. So that's a new start. I've just lined them all up and sort of arranged them all. I just need to put them into like little packets, I suppose, and then list them. So as well as, showing you some bits of work that I'm doing this week in my shop, I also want to kind of share with you a new planner setup that I've got, which is working, I think. I've sort of ended up doing One Book July a bit early, in a way, because I've sort of only been using one planner, one notebook for a few weeks, which was partly intentional because I was feeling overwhelmed again, but partly just kind of what happened after I read the bullet journal handbook. So yeah, anyway, I'm so dopey. I'm probably not going to film much more today, but I want to talk about the bullet journal handbook and how that sort of changed things a little bit for me. I'm not bullet journaling the way he, says is his way to do it. I'm sort of doing my own version in here. But yeah, and also, can you see on the cover all these beautifully stamped TNs I see on Instagram, and I thought to myself, oh, I'm going to stamp my TN and I'm going to carve a stamp. And I did carve a stamp, and it's actually the one that I used when I was making the freebie samples, the little leafy design. And I stamped my TN, and then I was like, I don't like it. So I was like, well, I've used this, the stays on ink. The stays on ink that's really permanent, obviously. I used that, so then I had to try and get that off, and I used, just don't do this. I used, don't stamp your TN unless you're like absolutely sure you'll like it, because it's obviously really difficult to get off. And I used like nail polish remover on it, and I was like apologising to the leather the whole time. And I even scraped the surface of it a little bit. Anyway, so it just looks hideous, but this is my blue TN, by the way, the one I ruined, A, by bleaching it with the sun, and B, now I ruined it by like stamping on it. And I'm perfectly happy showing you what a complete pig's ear I've made, because I'm still using it, because I don't want to be like, oh, I've ruined you, so I'm just not going to use you. I feel a bit sorry for it, so I'm using her with all her imperfections and her scars and God knows what. I'm just using her because I don't want to abandon her just because I made a few strange decisions. This is the back. The back looks alright, doesn't it? But yeah, the front. I don't know. I suppose it's funny. It looks a bit like, when you do like, what's it called? It's like printing with the sun. You put leaves on pieces of photoreactive paper and it sort of darkens the page around it. I don't know. I'm trying to just justify the fact that it's a mess, but I like it. So yeah, anyway, enough whittering. I will go through this coming up this week to explain what's going on in here. And I'm just going to turn the video off now because, as you can see, I'm shattered. I put the video by the window. I hope you can hear me. I put it by the open window so that you can listen to the birds as well while you're listening to me talk. I'm just sitting here watching a lady up the mountain. The hill, I suppose. In Japanese, you don't seem to differentiate between small hills and big mountains. They're both called yama. So she's up the yama, the hill, doing some gardening in the heat. Strong lady. I might show you. She won't mind. She won't notice. There she is. Good work, lady. It doesn't look hot, but it really is. So that's all there is for me today. I'm going to try and film a little bit every day this week and do a sort of a studio vlog collage video again. Because I know I haven't filmed for ages again. I don't know, I get into these funks and then I can't film anything. But yeah, that's enough for me. Bye-bye. Okay, so it's Wednesday now. It's Wednesday afternoon, and I've just been out to, I went for an eye test, so I've got my glasses on. And on the way back, I had to stop for some lunch, and I conveniently stopped for lunch right next to a stationery shop. So I've got a bit of a little haul, which I won't go through laboriously in great detail. Just a few bits. And then I also want to try today, if I have time, to talk through I'm not going to talk through the book. I'm not going to talk through the bullet journal method, because I'm not going to be able to do like a good review on it. I've read it cover to cover, and it was interesting, and I've taken a few ideas from it. I'd heard about the bullet journal method, obviously, it's very popular, and I'd seen it around and seen what people were doing, but I was curious to hear, like, from the guy himself, what he meant, like, what the original idea is, because obviously people take an idea and they run with it, and they change it, and they personalise it, and I'd heard that it was, like, obviously this is a patented, like, copywritten, way to describe his particular way of journaling. So you can't sell a product as a bullet journal or bullet journal like workshops, because he's copyrighted it. So I was curious to see what the thing is, what the thing is that is like protected and that he says is, you know, it is his idea, and what the original actual bullet journal method is. So it was interesting. It's not going to work for me entirely because of the way my brain works. Simply because the way he suggests you do it, as far as I can tell from how I've interpreted it, is that you every day you do a daily log, and you write the date, and then you write down the things that you need to do. And if you don't do them, you move them on to the next day or to the next time. So I thought, okay, great, fine. So I sat down and I wrote the date on a piece of paper. And then I wrote down all the things I need to do. And because a lot of my time is not, a lot of the time the things I need to do are not time specific. I don't have that many external deadlines, other people saying I have to do things on a certain date. I have one or two, like if I have to pay taxes by a certain deadline, but otherwise, pretty much everything I do is, I just need to do it all at some point. So when I sat down to write down like things I need to do, I got a piece of A4 paper and I covered both sides of it, and it was like 85 things, and I was like, well, I can't write 85 things on a daily log, because obviously that's a bit ridiculous, and it's not like I can go through it and then copy 82 of those onto the next day because I haven't done them, and then copy 81 the next day. You know, it's not going to work like that. So I thought, okay, I need to do it differently. So what I decided to do was sort of create inboxes, and I'm using that term because I've heard it been used. I think somebody else has some other method of doing things, and they use the term inbox. So, hang on, I'm just going to show you what I'm talking about. That'll be easier. Okay, so basically what I did, hang on, I got an A4 piece of paper and I just wrote down, brain dumped every little thing I could think of that I need to get done. Now, it was basically like, sit down and just go blah, 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 need to do this, need to do that, want to do this. And I wasn't really sort of saying, you know, whether it's important or whether it was something needed doing or something I wanted to do. But it was just everything in my head that I, you know, in the back of my mind, all the things I want to get done. And then I was like, well, how am I going to manage this? I can't obviously, like I said, I can't write out 80 whatever it was things on each day and then keep changing them to the next day when they're not done. And I can't even put them into months because I don't know. I feel like I can't plan, okay, April I'm going to do these things, May I'm going to do those things. I can't sort of put dates to things. Don't ask me why. I just can't. That's the way my life works. But I thought I can't just have a massive to-do list, because a massive to-do list it feels stressful. And then I'm like, well, which one do I do? There's too many to work on. When do I do them? And it was just like, it wasn't workable. So, are you still focused? So what I decided was, okay, one way to sort of break those down into manageable areas was to categorize them. So I went through the highlighter and I was like, okay, that's to do with the house, that's housework, that's something I need to do, you know, around the home. And then I just grabbed another random colour. Okay, that's, you know, about health, and that's like personal self-care, health type things, fine. And I just sort of sat and categorised them all with a highlighter. Something about my son, or I don't know, something. Another one was like hobbies. Okay, and these are all hobby things, like fun things that I feel guilty for doing or whatever. And then blah, 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 blah. So basically then, once I'd highlighted all the bits on the sheet, I then took another piece and I wrote out, okay, so this category means, you know, category A. This one is category B, for example, blah, blah, blah. And I sort of wrote out a key of what they all meant, all the categories. And then just for my own weird logging pleasure, I counted how many there were in each. So I was like, okay, I've got 20 things in that category and I've got 3 in that category or whatever. I don't know why I did that. That's just what I did. And then once I'd done that, I thought, well, okay, I have my lists of things I want to do, my to-do lists, broken into categories. And I just opened the front page, like I didn't do anything fancy to this, and I just stuck down my categories in the front. And I was using a computer to do this because I find sometimes scheduling things on a computer is a bit more flexible. So these were my categories, okay? So if you're interested, that's what they look like. Personal creative development. TPG is the Paper Geisha online shop. Creative practice is literally me sitting down and doing something creative. Because I need to sort of give myself time to do that, because otherwise it gets pushed. Same with health and self-care. If I don't schedule time in, I just don't do it. I just neglect it, and it's not good, obviously. Family tasks, like important things like taxes and payments and things like that. Home and house is like housework. This one covered up is my son. And then I did make myself a fun category. And then in the back, I wrote out like an index, all the categories, and then I just put all of my tons and tons, sorry if I'm off camera, tons and tons of things to do under each heading, wrote them all out. So I thought, okay, I've got them all categorised now. So how am I going to bullet journal? Because I thought I ought to at least give it a try. So I thought about the month spread. So the monthly, what does he call it? I don't even know what the terminology is. The monthly, you know, he suggests you do like a monthly spread at the beginning of each month and write down things that you have to do that month. there's not that many things I have to do in a month. I might have a few appointments or whatever, but mostly I don't. So what I needed to do personally when I'm looking at my month is work out, okay, so like I said before, I'm sort of self-employed. You know, I'm not tied to an employer's working times or whatever. But I'm finding that I'm letting things slip. I'm finding that I'm not doing things I should be doing. And I'm spending more time on other things. And there's no sort of balance. Like, I didn't have anything planned. So I'd wake up, you know, on a Monday morning and I would just do the first thing that came into my head. Or, you know, the thing that I felt needed to do the most. And I would just work my way through the days like that. Okay, what do I need to do now? What do I need to do now? And I found that things were just getting left. Things were just getting pushed to the side. I wasn't doing any drawing. I wasn't doing any, like, playing around with paints or pens. I wasn't looking after my health particularly. You know, I've been meaning to go and get my eyes tested for like a year, 2 years, and I haven't done it. And it was just sort of getting nudged to the side, nudged to the side, nudged to the side. And I thought to myself, okay, I need to approach this differently. I need to approach my weeks differently. I have these sort of chunks of time, because of the way my day, my schedule works, I sort of have chunks of time that are dedicated to different things. So, for example, when I wake up in the morning, I sometimes get like maybe half an hour maybe, to myself before my son wakes up. That to me is like, that's a chunk of time that I can use. Then when my son's at Hoikuen, I obviously have the time, when my son's at nursery, I have the time to like do stuff during the day, so before lunch and after lunch. So that's 2 more chunks of time. And then when he comes back, we have a bit of time in the evening, before dinner and after dinner. So I thought, well, that's kind of like my day broken up into 5 sort of areas. So I don't know if you can see, but I sort of did this, I think I did this on Excel. Can't remember, but I did this sort of like calendar layout on Excel. And I had like, for each day, for example, here, I have in the morning before my son wakes up, tiny bit of time. And then I have, that's not a good example, ignore that one, that's the weekend. Morning, I have a little bit of time before he wakes up. Then obviously that's the morning getting ready, and I normally go for a walk afterwards. Free time, like personal time to use for whatever, before lunch and then after lunch, and then when I picked him up from nursery, before dinner, after dinner, and obviously we're going to bed. So I thought, okay, in my week, I need to basically find space to do all of these things. Like, I need to sort of dedicate slots. It's a bit like when you go to high school or school and you have like a timetable, don't you? So you do English on Friday mornings, followed by maths, and then, you know, on a Monday you do PE. You know, you have your week sort of blocked out according to subjects. So I thought, okay, I'm going to do that, and I'm going to see if that works for me. And then I know that I, like, when it comes to, say, a Wednesday, okay, Wednesday is when I focus on health and self-care. So it's the closest thing I have to a day off, like a personal time, but I want to use that in a more productive way than just lying around watching telly, which, by the way, I never do. Just as I'm saying that, I'm like, I never do that. But, you know, I want to have free time to myself, personal time, day off, as it were, but I want to be doing something with it that's good for me. So I thought, okay, Wednesdays, I'll do like health and self-care and some sort of personal development sort of thing. So, I mean, this is really hard to kind of maybe work out just from looking at it, but I basically color-coded each block. I dropped it into each, like, you know, using computer, using Excel, I just kind of dropped a color into each block until I felt like I had enough of each category across the week. So I have a space pretty much every day for housework except for the Monday. For example, every day I have a space for my son, to do something with my son. And then I have, I do my paper geisha shop on Mondays and Tuesdays. Wednesdays is, like I said, my health and self-development day. Thursdays and Fridays I'm trying to dedicate to being more focused on drawing and being creative. And then, like, free time in the morning, early morning, is going to be personal development, like reading books on, you know, personal development and working on things that I think are going to help develop me professionally, I suppose. And the weekend, any free time in the morning or in the evening is like hobbies, like fun stuff. So I thought, well, that that feels like a fair enough balance, and we'll see how it goes, and I can change it as I go along. So, sorry if this is ridiculously long. I then, because I just like stickers, I made myself stickers for all the different types of days of the week. Hang on, let me put this down and then I know you're in focus. So, because just to begin with, I need to sort of get my head around, okay, what we're doing on this day. And I should have printed days of the week on, but I didn't. And the whole point of doing that is because I'm a sort of a visual person. I need the colours to sort of remind me what I'm doing. And then I started the actual sort of bullet journaling, which was basically started on a Thursday. So I got my Thursday sticker. So Thursday, I actually slept then. I slept in till 6 o'clock. Woo! Personal development day I had for this day. And that was all setting this up and sort of getting focused on how I'm going to organise my work week. So personal development colour was orange, personal development title, and then, you know, I put down what I was doing. Space for my son, put down what to do with my son that evening, and a space for housework. So I wrote down the housework I did. And then I kept doing it each day. So obviously the next day was a creative practice day. It was an art day. I mean, I do bits of the paper geisha every day, like if I have to post orders or whatever. But my main focus for that day was drawing, and I actually did it. I actually sat down and I got my sketchbook out and I actually did something, and it was amazing. So it sounds really odd, but it's kind of like a timetabled bullet journal type thing. So I have like my days timetabled according to subject, with subjects in them. And then once I know what that day is, I can then, like, hang on, let's find a better example. Okay, so this is a good example, okay. So Mondays and Tuesdays are working on the shop. So this is a Tuesday, okay. So very first thing in the morning, if I have free time when I wake up, personal development. So when I was scheduling, when I was planning this particular Tuesday, I'm like, okay, personal development, and I put the title, and then I look back to my inboxes and see what are all the things I want to do regarding personal development. And then I choose which one I think I want to do, or which one's more important, and I write it on here. And then I'm like, okay, today, during the daytime, is doing work on the paper geisha. So I write the paper geisha, and then I flip to my paper geisha index, and I choose, okay, what's the most important? I need to do that, I need to do that, I need to do that, and then I write them in here. And then the same with my son, what do I want to do with my son this evening? And then what housework do I need to do? Blah, 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 blah. And that way, I feel like I'm chipping away at my ginormous want-to-do lists. But I'm not being overwhelmed every day by all of these things. I'm not being overwhelmed by like all of these ridiculous amounts of things that I want to do. I don't even have to look at them. I can just go through, and I can it helps me prioritise things. Go through it, think, okay, I need to do that, okay. And then I put them in here. And then when that day comes, like the following day or later that day, I don't have to kind of even pay attention to that. I can just look at what I've put on here. And if it doesn't get done, I just cancel it. I just cross it out and say, okay, I didn't do it. I don't have to rewrite it for the next day. Because the next day I'll start fresh and I'll go back to here and be like, okay, what's left? Because there may be a reason I didn't do it. Like maybe I couldn't do it, or it's like literally impossible. So there's no point me crossing that, writing it on here, and then, there's no point in doing that. So I hope that was sort of useful, interesting. I just felt, really, when I was reading this, and this is just my, my personal opinion, I felt like his life might be a little bit simpler than mine. Obviously, I don't know the guy. I don't know what his lifestyle is, but I feel like perhaps if you're the kind of person, say, who has a job
like a day job, and you're single or you're just married without children, you, not that you don't have much to do, I'm sure you're busy, but the sort of the categories in which you are busy perhaps maybe a little bit more straightforward. I don't know, that's a huge assumption on my part, and I'm sorry if it's not true or it's offensive, but I feel a bit like I can't just do what he does and go through each day and write down things and then carry them forward to the next day or to the next month if they're not done, because there's just so much. And I don't know whether that's to do with my lifestyle, as in I've got so many things to do, or whether it's because I personally have a problem narrowing down between things I need to do and things I should just forget about. I mean, I'm aware that some people perhaps don't have as many hobbies, or at least they don't count their hobbies as something they need to bullet journal. I don't know. But for me, since my hobbies are creative and my job is creative, it all sort of gets intermingled, and I feel like these are really important things that I have to do, so I can't just be like, I'll just do them if I have time. I have to sort of make myself the time to do them. And there's other things, you know, like I said, that I have to bring back my focus to. Like, I have to bring back my focus to doing the drawing, otherwise it won't get done. Anyway, I'm sort of tailing off now because I feel like I've just rambled ridiculously fast, as usual. But that was basically, this is my take on the bullet journal, okay? That's what I've ended up doing. Okay, so I feel like since this is quite colourful and it's quite, like, I don't know, I find it's a bit head doing. And also, if I don't have my highlighters with me, I find it a bit irritating. And these stickers, the whole point of these stickers really were for me to remember, now what am I doing on that day, what we're doing on that day, without having to keep flipping back to here to be like, oh, I was supposed to be doing this. But I think going forward, I won't need them so much, because I feel like I'm sort of getting into the habit of, okay, Mondays is this, Tuesdays I do this and this, Wednesdays I do that. And if I can stick to those sort of themes, those sort of classes, as it were, for each day, subjects, after a while I won't need to, you know, remember what I'm doing, and I'll just know, okay, Fridays is drawing, creative practice, so what are my creative practice tasks, blah blah blah. So I'm hoping to sort of simplify it a bit, because I don't want it to be too visually overwhelming, like, which sounds hypocritical because I just said I like the colours because I'm a visual person, but I suppose it's just kind of working out that balance, isn't it, of how you need things so that they work best for you. So I'm just going to keep going with it for a while. This is today. I didn't schedule much today because last night was a bit overwhelming. I couldn't sort of focus. But I'll just simply fill in what I did do into each category and then try again for tomorrow. So yeah, that is my take on the bullet journal method. I do recommend reading the book, even if you're not quite sure if it's going to work for you, just because even if you don't literally copy exactly his method, it just sort of I suppose it gets you thinking about, well, that wouldn't work for me because blah, blah, blah. But then that triggers thoughts about, okay, so that wouldn't work for me because, so therefore, what could I try instead? So it's sort of just, I don't know, and he has some good ideas in there. And obviously, it really works for him and it really works for a lot of people. So, you know, I'm sure you'll find something useful if you haven't read it. And it's just actually a very nice book. Very nice to hold. So yeah, so this sort of beginning bullet journal thing is just going in here, which is my my knackered blue TN. So it's just going in here with, this is sort of like the free journal. I started doing sort of a random free journal in here, which basically means that I just do what I want in it. So it's going in there with that one. So I've got a free journal and a bullet journal, and then this is my washi paper folder with my Hope I Need 2 weeks in. And that's all getting squashed in here, and I'm feeling quite, you know, it's getting too squished. A bit worried about the cover. I mean, obviously the cover's not going to break, it's brilliant strong leather, but I don't know, when I look at it I think, oh, you look overstuffed, poor thing. Looks a bit sort of, I don't know, can you see? It just doesn't look quite comfortable. So I might take my weeks out again, I'm not sure. Anyway, that's like my current setup, which I thought I would share. So I'm just going to finish today with a very quick
super quick haul, which is not really a haul, it's just a few things. And then I think I'll sign off because I'm knackered from talking so much. So put all this to the side. So yeah, as I said, I went off to have my eyes checked finally, and I'm not any more blind than I was 5 years ago, so that I think is a good thing. And on the way back I stopped at a stationery shop just to grab a few bits. The first thing I'll show you are these are just pens that I got for my son actually, because he's really into drawing and I kind of want to encourage it because he does so much sort of imaginative drawing. It's brilliant. So I just got these Tombow Play Colour K twin markers, and then I grabbed these extra colours because they didn't have like the big set in the shop. So they're kind of, I don't know if they're like the basic pen that most kids have here or what, but you get like an extra fine. They're just like felt tip pens basically, and then a slightly thicker one on the other side. So he'll get those when he comes home. And then the next thing I got were these Midori Fusen seals, which I saw on Sylvia, Write Your Life, her channel. She had them. And I was like, damn, how did... Like, she had them in America before I had them in my local shop here in Japan. I was like, what? And I went straight out, like, I don't know, a few days later to my local stationery shop to see if I could find them. And they didn't have them. But now, a couple of months later, they've got them. And I really like these because I really love the sort of the vintage, it's like an Art Deco font. It's lovely. So these, they're meant for like habit tracking, because I feel like Midori recently has kind of got in on the bullet journal sort of scene. It's sort of picking up in Japan a bit more, so there's more products out there that are more specific for them. So as you can see, they are blank on the top, so you can write down like whatever it is you want to track, and you've got 31 chances. I've got a pen at my nail. 31 chances to track whatever it is you want to track. Well, I just thought they were so cute, really sweet. So I got those. And then I picked up some of these Midori MD Notebook Light. They have a fantastic range of sizes, all different sizes now. I feel like their range is like completely exploded in terms of formats. I noticed they had so many different like narrow formats, really big formats like A4 in their notebook range. I don't know if that's a new thing or what, but I was just like, they've got so many different ones. Okay, my camera turned off because it got too hot apparently. But yeah, I was just showing you these, you get 3 in a pack MD notebooks. MD Notebook Light is what I was showing. So they're like slim, stapled, with the usual grid paper you get in the MD notebooks. And you get these stickers. And I thought these number stickers were brilliant to have, because you can sort of do additions, and you don't have to use them for these, you could do some on bullet journals. I love the labels you get with MD. Anyway, one of these, or all of them, I don't know which, is going to be like a health notebook. In Japan you get, they're called drug notebooks, which makes me chuckle, to put your drugs in, all the drugs that you have to take. You get like a drug notebook, and when you go to the chemist or the pharmacy and to get a prescription, you give them the notebook, and they like write in it what you're given, how often you need to take it, or they like stick a sticker in to say it. So it's brilliant, you automatically have this record of all the medicine you've been taking. So when you go to a new doctor, because you don't just go to one doctor here, you can go to whoever you want, as long as you've got insurance. they can have a quick flick through to see what medicine you're taking, blah blah blah. You don't have to explain everything, which is really good. But I also thought what I need to do is maybe write down things in English for me, and I need to write down medical vocabulary and things. And because this is the same size, I think it should be a really good kind of format to keep together with my drug notebook and all my other health stuff. So that's what those are for.
And then lastly are 3 books that I got from Midori again. And these ones I went in to look for a couple of months ago because I really wanted them for a certain project, and they didn't have them in the shop, and I was like, what? Where are they? Like, I went round and round. Don't know why I didn't just ask. I think probably because I didn't know what they're called. And it turns out it's because they're in the sale section, 40% off, and I don't know why. And I hope it's not because Midori is stopping doing them, but they were 40% off. So these are by Midori again, but they're sort of like a separate kind of genre to the normal notebooks, because these are all the spiral bound spiral ring notebook, and they all have like, sorry, wobbling the camera, they all have like different animal. So this is the kangaroo spiral. So this is the one I wanted because I was doing like a travel journal and I really wanted to have this. And I've since done it in something else. But you get pockets on every page. So you can write, before you put your photo or whatever you want to put in there, tickets, you can write on here what it is, you could like journal, do whatever. And it's just brilliant. It's such a lovely, and it's so lightweight. It's just perfect for travel. Gorgeous design. So I don't know why they're on sale. A little bit worrying, but anyway. I was happy. So I got the kangaroo. And then I got this one. Again, 40% off. This one is the... What's this? This is the elephant, the Zol. I don't actually know what this one is. I just got it because it was reduced. Spiral ring. Oh, it's grey. And it's cardstock. Oh, that's interesting. That's really interesting. It's grey, like, just like card. Like, not particularly tough card, but card, definitely card. And it's really nice texture. Oh, that's interesting. I don't know what I'm going to use that for. That's nice. And then lastly, I got this one, which was, I guess it's the bee. Yes, Mitsubachi Honeybee. So this one is envelopes. Because I saw Job from Job's Journal. I think he had one of these because they're really good for keeping like flake stickers in, I think he was using, or just random bits of ephemera. But you could use them for anything. You could put large photos in here. So each page is like literally an envelope there, and then with a clear front on. So I thought that was absolutely lovely. How nice. You could even put letters from pen pals in there, couldn't you? And then you just write the date on when they sent it. Oh, so nice. So many ideas, because it's such... I've not seen anything else like this anywhere ever. So I will be very, very sad if they stop selling them. I'm probably starting some horrific rumours here, and they're probably not selling them. It's probably just my local stationery shop was just clearing stock. But yeah, so that's what I got. That is my haul, and I'm going to stop nattering for today because I've nattered enough. So, yeah, over and out for today. Bye! Okay, it's now Thursday and I've just been for my walk and come back and had a shower, and I decided to set up the June page on my bullet journal because the June starts on the weekend this month, so I won't have time to sort it at the weekend, so it's either today or tomorrow. So I'm just grabbing a little bit of time before I start my drawing. And I did film, it filmed me doing this, but I obviously didn't film it, obviously. I didn't press record. So it's a little bit different to how I did the May. So May I did on the computer because I was sort of working out where things should go. And I just sat this morning, I woke up early, just making notes around the edge about how to do it differently for June. Because I need a little bit of space. Instead of having like my little timetable coloured in for every day, since I'm going to do the same thing on a Monday, every Monday, the same thing on a Tuesday, every Tuesday, I really only need that once across the top to reference. So for June, I'm going to do it here. I'm just going to use highlighters to do it, so that I know, okay, Mondays I'm supposed to be doing these things, Tuesdays I'm doing these things. So that's just going to go across the top. And then I thought, well, I need a little bit of space because I do have like certain appointments or events on certain days. And also, like today's Thursday the 30th, and I've just thought to myself of the things that I really want to do next Wednesday for my health section, my health session. But I don't have where to write that because I don't have the daily pages yet. So I thought perhaps on the monthly spread, if I leave it quite open, so next Wednesday is going to be here, the 5th, so I can write in, I'll probably do it in pencil, the thing that I want to do next Wednesday. And then obviously when it comes to that Wednesday, I can put it into the daily pages. So that's the plan. That's what I'm thinking about doing. See how that goes for June. And I did the whole thing with the Tombow brush pen because well, it's my favourite brush pen because it's waterproof. So in theory, if I go in now and start highlighting bits and bobs, it's not going to smudge or smear. So yeah, I'm just going to finish setting that up, and then I'm going to get on with doing some drawing. I'm starting a new sketchbook today. So I finished, this is the last sketchbook I used. This, honestly, this has taken me so long to fill because I dip in and out of different formats all the time. So this one I actually started in 2013. Was it 2014? 2013. I was just checking because I sometimes write the dates the English way and sometimes I write them the Japanese way. So, but it was just like, I was using it for various things and just dipping in and out. So, but I finally finished it the other day, as much as I want to be finished. There's obviously still space. So I'm going to sort of retire this one and start a completely different one. Smaller format. This is watercolour paper, so really I shouldn't be using it for like random sketches. It should be for like proper watercolour. But I kind of wanted to finish it, so I was just using it for whatever. So this one is going to be more for like just drawing and sketching and like not necessarily painting, because I don't know if this takes paint very well. But this is the Midori MD Notebook Cotton in A5. So I've had MD notebooks before, but I've never had the cotton. And I've heard there's quite a few YouTubers, like bigger, like artist YouTubers, that say this is really good. It obviously bleeds through if you use certain things like alcohol markers. But I just thought I'd try. It's very thin. You see, I'm used to using sketchbooks that have thicker paper, but it's supposed to be really, you know, even though it's thin, it's supposed to take media really well. So I'm going to start using that today. Yeah, so I think I'll just get on with things, really. Okay, bye-bye.